Okay. Moved by Councillor Oliver, seconded by Councillor Wells, that council reconvened in open session at 4:33 p.m. Those in favor? It's carried. Thank you. We had an closed session I guess it was an hour and a half ago. Anyhow, we come back from closed session, and we had two items. One, we have given direction to staff and our solicitor. The other one is to announce our new county manager. And I have a media release here I'm going to read. Okay. Can't find my copy, but I'll go through this. The Corporation of Norfolk County has completed the recruitment process for the new county manager and is announcing that Mr. David Cribbs has accepted the position. Mr. Cribbs will commence his duties as county manager on April the 18th, 2017. Mr. Cribbs most recently served as General Manager, Corporate Services Division, County Clerk, and the County Solicitor for the County of Lambton, and has more than 14 years of municipal experience at both urban and rural municipalities. Mr. Cribbs also has experience working as an associate lawyer in a private law firm. Mr. Cribbs is a frequent lecturer at various municipal conferences and association meetings, and has expressed passion for municipal issues. He feels the ability to work in public service is a privilege. Originally, Mr. Cribbs is from South Porcupine, Ontario. He holds Master of Public Administration, Master of Arts, and Bachelor of Art degrees. He obtained his Juris Doctor from Osgoode Hall Law School. David is married with 2 children and is an avid sports fan. This position of county manager has been vacant since February the 3rd, 2017, due to the resignation of Mr. Robichaud. The county manager selection committee included myself, members of council, and staff. And I want to add to this release, or it's in here, but I want to say that I am very pleased on behalf of county council, county staff, and the residents of Norfolk County to welcome Mr. David Cribbs as our new county manager. Mr. Cribbs was selected recently for this position after many, many hours of recruitment and interviewing. And I am confident that Mr. Cribbs' many years of public service and his background as a municipal solicitor will benefit us. This time I want to, first of all, thank members of council that were on the first interview committee, that were on the second interview committee, and to our members of staff. Certainly, Candy, you were the leader of the pack, so to speak. A lot of hours you put into this, and we really appreciate it. And please pass on council's thanks as well to Carly Salomon, and also, of course, to Stephanie Godby. I think I've covered everyone. Thank you very much. We'll start on the agenda, and then we'll have a break shortly. And then our public meeting starts, of course, at 5 o'clock. Item number 4 on the agenda, you'll find it on page 7, are the regular council meeting minutes 2 weeks ago, February 28th. I'll certainly be interested if there's anything that you wish to comment on and the way it's presented here in writing. Council members, anything to bring to our attention? If not, I will declare those minutes adopted as they are printed, and thank you for all your work in putting those minutes together week after week. Good job, Mr. Clerk. Reports of committees. We will go to page 17, the minutes of the council and committee from last week. That was March the 7th, 2017. There we go.
Sorry.
You think I should?
Yeah.
You want to do it right now? I'm sorry, the clerk has pointed out to me that we need to appoint our new county manager by resolution. I'll do that right now. Moved by Councillor Wells, seconded by Councillor Geisens. That staff report, EBS 1724, the appointment of county clerk, Norfolk County, be received as information. It says, and remain confidential. The report does, correct? And remain confidential, and that Norfolk County Council approve the hiring of Mr. David Cribbs in the position of county manager in Norfolk County. And further, that Norfolk County Council endorse the employment agreement between the Corporation of Norfolk County and Mr. David Cribbs. And further, a bylaw be prepared authorizing the mayor and the clerk to sign the employment agreement with Mr. David Cribbs. Any discussion? Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Geisen, seconded by Councillor Oliver, that the minutes of the council and committee meeting dated March 7th, 2017 be adopted as presented with the exception of resolution number 17. Discussion on everything except 17. Councillor Wells, please.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I wish to draw to council's attention resolution number 8. At one time, I think last week, I suggested that I would be pulling this individually to speak to it. Since that time, I've spoken to Mr. Cridlin, and I have also spoken to Mr. Lipset, and both tend to feel, first of all, I'd like to say Mr. Cridlin certainly said that whatever council decides, he would work with. So there was no problem there. But speaking with Mr. Lipset, who in turn spoke to several of the boaters down at the yacht club, marina, and they both felt that it's more important that we get this right than it is to get it done early. So they are supporting the resolution as it rests, so I will not be pulling it. And I thank council for their wisdom. Thank you.
No, thank you. Councillor Columbus, please, to the motion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it's with respect to resolution number 5. It's the feline TNR services. Just some clarification from Mr. Baird. It talks about in that Norfolk Paws and the Simcoe District Humane Society be awarded up to $25,000 each to be applied towards a Norfolk County spay and neuter program for stray and abandoned cats. But it doesn't say anything there about release in that line, in that paragraph. So should it say release, or is it the way it is that the way we're looking at it?
Through the mayor, the way the unsolicited proposals came in, they did talk about in both cases a TNR, a trap, neuter, and release. As directed by committee last week, I'll be preparing an agreement for both parties, and at that time, council can review that, and we'll ask questions of the proponents and seek clarification, or if they're willing to modify their proposal. It wouldn't be appropriate for us to change it without their consent at this time.
Okay, great, thanks.
Thank you. Anything further? If not, those in favor of the motion? It's carried. Thank you. Let's go to page 25. It's been moved by Councillor Sonnenberg and seconded by Councillor Oliver that resolution number 17, Council and Committee March 7th, 2017, meeting that staff be directed to provide a report with options for a trial period to allow chickens on non-agricultural property. Discussion, Councillor Black.
Thank you, Mayor Luke, and yes, I'm the one that had this pulled, and the motion said, indicated maybe hamlets, I could have been in favor of it, but it's indicating that it would pertain to any non-agricultural land, which would mean any urban area, and I just don't think it would work in the town of Simcoe. Maybe it would. Personally, it wouldn't bother me, but I think I know a lot of the constituents in Simcoe. I think there'd be a lot out there that may not appreciate this, so I can't support it.
Thank you, Councillor Height, and then Councillor Wells.
Thank you, Mayor Luke. Quite possibly I could have worded that motion better, but it does have in there that staff be directed to provide a report with options. In those options, I fully expect our staff to separate out urban and hamlets. So I don't see why this wouldn't move forward, because we're going to get an option report with at least 3 or 4 different options, and at that time we can decide about the urban things. There might be some other urban areas that have some, they've experimented on this and it works for them. Maybe we have some knowledge on that. Maybe we don't. Maybe we decide Simcoe doesn't get chickens and everywhere else gets chickens. But I'm hearing it from the hamlets that they don't mind having farm fresh eggs at their house. So I'd like to see that report come forward with options.
Thank you very much, Councillor Wells.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I must truthfully say that I will wait for the report to come back with options. Up until that time, I was going to vote not in favor of this. And the reason is, Mr. Mayor, again in Port Dover, and I know I only live in Port Dover, and everybody knows that, but I am starting now, for some strange reason, to hear the word coyotes being brought to my attention again. And I was thinking the other day, I would think that if we had chickens in the backyard of homes, that would attract more of these coyotes and would only increase my problems as opposed to make them any simpler. So when the options come in, I'll listen very carefully. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other speakers to the motion, please? Councillor Columbus.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I too have had some communication with people about this, and one of the things they say, if we're going to allow chickens, would they allow rabbits, for people to raise rabbits, because people eat rabbit? And then someone mentioned pigeons, so I guess we'll wait for the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Height.
For allowing me to speak again. So, since there's a coyote problem with the chickens, quite possibly staff could bring forward an option on donkeys. I heard they're excellent guard animals at keeping coyotes away from your chicken coops.
Any further comments on the motion? Oh, Councillor Wells? And all in favor of the motion? Opposed? That would be carried. Thank you. Page 27, the Norfolk County Agricultural Advisory Board meeting minutes. They're dated February the 1st, 2017, moved by Sonnenberg, second by Wells, that the minutes of the Agricultural Advisory Board of minutes from February the 1st, 2017, meeting be received as information. A discussion here, Councillor Columbus, please.
Mr. Mayor, at noon today, I met with the chairman of the Ag Advisory Board, Brett Schuyler, and we discussed this bunkhouse issue and where it's at, actually. I believe the staff, our planning staff, is not in support of permitting surplus farm dwellings to be used as bunkhouses because they're considered worker camps, I guess. So, Mr. Baird, can you share with us where you're at with this? I know the Ag Advisory Board is pushing to allow houses on farms to be used as bunkhouses.
Through the mayor, I don't have all the information right now on the status of that, but I'd be pleased to get it from my planning staff and provide you each with an email outlining where we're at with it and when it will be coming forward.
So I take it council will still have the opportunity to make that decision, right?
Through the mayor, council always has that opportunity, and you will have that.
Thank you.
Anything further? Those in favor? Carried. One more, and then we'll have a break. You okay, bud? You're okay. Please be seated. I'm on page 60. This is the Norfolk Arts Center. It's been moved by Geisen, seconded by Oliver, that the minutes of December the 14th, 2016 meeting of the Norfolk Arts Center be received as information. Discussion? Those in favor? It's carried. I'm going to do another one. No, I'm going to try to finish the first page. We'd have been done our agenda if we hadn't got on to the donkeys and chickens. Moved by Councillor Oliver, seconded by Councillor Wells, that the minutes of January the 18th, 2017 meeting of the Norfolk Arts Center be received as information. Discussion. Those in favor? It's carried. I'm going to do one more just to kind of bother Councillor Wells. I'm on page 70, moved by Councillor Oliver, seconded by Councillor Geisens, that the minutes of the February the 8th, 2017 meeting of the Norfolk Arts Center be received as information. Discussion, Councillor Black.
Mr. Mayor, through you to Mr. Baird or Mr. Ford, just wondering where are we at with the funding and the application to do the work on Linwood? I know there were some complications there about timelines. So is that work going to be done?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Black and Council. There's a report coming to Council. I'm hoping I'm going to get it for next week, but I've got a couple of issues that we have to sort out with Parks Canada. The process is proceeding forward. The application was approved subject to a pre-certification report being done and some other things, which I can't believe how long it's taken for those things to be done. The pre-certification report was just filed on February 27th. We got approval in principle in September. Why it's taken until the end of February to get the pre-certification report done, I don't know. But when we did get it, there were a couple of problems with some of the things that were written in it, and they sent a revised one as of today. And the contribution agreement needed to be revised as well because there were some errors in it. And I believe I saw an email just before I came up here that contribution agreement is now in our hands. So the next step is to put it in front of council to get formal approval for it, which I'm hoping to do next week. Worst case scenario would be the week after.
Okay. And I think part of the concern was that the timeline for completion. And so do we have a long enough period of time now and, that we can reasonably complete the work?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, again, I'm sorry, I didn't respond to that part of your question as well. The contribution agreement as it sits today says the completion is March 31st, 2017. We have been in conversation with them to the effect that's going to be extended 1 year till March 31st, 2018, but the contribution agreement stands the way it is because that's the way it is. We have a formal application into them to extend the date. They've told us that we should get a response back on that within the next day or two. It took them 4 months to get the pre-certification report, so I'm hoping that it doesn't take 4 months to get that response. But that's where it sits. They are fully recognize the fact that it is the winter, and the pre-certification report that should have been done in the fall wasn't done until February, so it's a little hard to proceed with the application. We explained that to them in a very lengthy conference call, so I think all that's going to be resolved. And as soon as the weather improves, we'll be getting on with the work.
Okay, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Anything further? One comment, then I'll call the question. On the top of page 71, it talks about the two forthcoming exhibitions. One, of course, is the Norfolk High School Senior Visual Art exhibit is on display right now, open Friday night along with Elizabeth Barrett Milner. I attended the official opening. I'll tell you, it's worth going in and seeing these works. It is absolutely brilliant. The work, there was a full house there Friday night. Receive as information. Those in favor? It's carried. We'll have a 10-minute break. Thank you. It's okay. There you go. Just turn it on. You're the best. Well, 10 minutes, we'll start.